Well, a very, very happy Monday morning to everyone, and welcome to the John Quintero Show. Glad you could join me on this Monday. Hope everyone didn't get too wet, but hey, let's face it, we needed some rain. We got some pretty good rain last night in the San Diego and Southern California area for that matter, but hope everyone had a great weekend. I certainly did. I called a basketball game on Saturday night. UC San Diego rolled once again. They beat CSUN and played a really, really good basketball game. Yesterday, went to church, came home, watched the two championship games, and got ready for the program and raring to go. Before we get too far into it, I want to remind everyone if you would please subscribe to the program. It doesn't cost a dime. Also, if you'd hit like, and also I would love and really appreciate when you send little comments or questions. Always enjoy that. And believe me, I do go through them all. Also, you can follow me on Facebook. And we are live on Facebook each and every show at John Quintera and on X at Coach Quintera 44. I very much appreciate that. Well, you know what? When you get ready to do a program, you have an outline. And we certainly have an outline for each and every one of our shows. We put a lot of time and energy into preparation, and we just don't come on the air and shoot from the hip. But this morning, at 7:37 this morning, there was an article that came down on the Union Tribune website by Kevin Acee. And Kevin Acee wrote a big, long, lengthy article on Sunday about the Padres and where they're at and how last year at this point in time, the Padres didn't have a left fielder, they didn't have a center fielder, they needed a pitcher. And little did we know that Jackson Merrill would end up being this all-star center fielder. Padres ran into a star there, and then they signed Jerks and Profar as they got into spring training. And then they made the deal to get Dylan Cease, eventually made the deal to get Luis Arraez, and everything went well. And I praised AJ Preller up and down. And I told AJ when he attended our uh, holiday happy hour Christmas party at the Leucadia, and I went up to him, shook his hand, and go, man, everything you did last year, you were absolutely perfect. You deserve to be the executive of the year. Well, it was a good article that kind of painted the Padres where they're at right now. And then this article this morning that came out was an article talking about the lawsuit. Sheil Seidler filing lawsuit against her brother-in-laws. And long, lengthy article. And I've read it twice, and I'll probably read it a third time. But it really comes down that Sheil Seidler wants to take over this ball club and be the team chairman. On the other hand, John Seidler, uh, Matt Seidler, and Robert Seidler, uh, they're coming in and they're flexing their muscles and they're taking over for their brother Peter Seidler. I don't know what's in the trust. I don't know what was in Peter's will, but his widow is claiming that she wants to be in charge and that she's not been given the things that she's supposed to be given to her children since Peter's death. I have no idea where this is going to go, but I can tell you this: it's not good. And when we take a look at the Padres right now, I don't know what to say. And I'm going to talk more about the ownership in a minute, but you Padre fans, I told you last week, you can't be angry, you can't be bitter, and don't be frustrated. It's still early. I know the Dodgers have signed everybody, and they continue to work on deal. I mean, there was a rumor over the weekend, and I'm not buying it, that they would bring in Alex Bregman, maybe even on a 1-year contract. He's having a hard time finding a home. Probably not going back to Houston. There's talk he could go to Boston. But hey, the days are clicking off. I mean, pitchers and catchers report on February 12th, and the rest of the squad reports on February 17th. I understand. I'm bitter and angry that we haven't done anything, but I'm not going to worry about it yet. I'm not going to worry about it yet because I do think the Padres have the ability to do some things. But you have to give up some players. You'll have to give up some players. Now, there's a couple of different ways that AJ can go about this. He can roll the dice. Maybe pick up one pitcher And he could roll the dice with Terso or Nellis out there in left field and Eggy Rosario out there in left field, left-handed, right-handed platoon. But what I'm afraid of, and this is when I would be angry, bitter, and frustrated, is if the Padres trade Arraez or Cease or both of them. I think Michael King will probably come back. We'll have to wait and see what happens in this arbitration case. And that's the other thing. If I'm bitter about anything, Michael King and the Padres are like $1.5 million short. Okay. Michael King needs about $1.5 million and he'd be a happy guy. But they're going to have to go to arbitration. And this would be the first time in A.J. Preller's tenure he would have to go to arbitration with the player. And that doesn't work out well for either side. If the player wins, he's happy and the organization's upset. If the organization wins, you got an unhappy player. And a lot of times you end up trading that player almost immediately. And remember, Michael King's got 1 year left on his contract. But I'm bitter from the standpoint, we got a good ball club here. We got a really good ball club. And I realized the payroll was high. And I still think the payroll, as much as they say it's going to be around $200 million, it's going to be more than that. It has to be unless you trade off some pieces. But what I'm angry about for you fans, here's what I'm angry about. That I've been told by season ticket holders that I think the last 3 years, if I got this correct, the last 3 years, ticket prices have gone up like 50%. Maybe not in all areas, but in some areas. And there was another 3% raise this year. I don't know how much you can continue to raise the prices at Petco Park. I know. I realize they're selling out. They're doing a hell of a job. There's no question about it. But between the tickets, the concession prices, the parking, it's taken a lot of people out of the game. And I guess at the end of the day, nobody really cares about the people that can't afford it because they're putting 42 plus in a night. But, the blue collar guy, you'd love to get kids to the ballpark because those are the future fans of tomorrow. But there are a lot of people just can't afford to go. Even people that have money, they can only go a couple times a year. I mean, it's a stretch. I mean, you go to a Padres game, it's not cheap, let alone if you a husband, a wife, a couple of kids. And a lot of times the kids want to bring a friend. I mean, it's very difficult. And the prices there are very high, very high. Parking's not cheap. And I'm not going to tell fans, hey, you got to go to the ballpark. You got to go to the ballpark. I'm very thankful that we have such a great fan base and such a loyal fan base. But how much can you ask? How much higher can you take these ticket prices? But anyways, I understand the angriness, the bitterness, and people being frustrated because I'm right there with you. I don't really know what to expect. I mean, if I had to guess right now and I had to make a prediction on our Padres this year, I would think we're going to finish in third place as of right now. Now, things can change. We could all of a sudden make a deal and, get a couple of guys, get an arm, get an outfielder, maybe take on a little bit of money. If that's even in the equation, I don't know. But I think over what the last 2 years A.J. Preller has done, we got to have confidence in him. My biggest thing with A.J. right now, is he going to get a shot to do anything? Is this ownership group going to give him an opportunity to do anything? I don't know. I really don't know. Let's get to what's, who's going to run the Padres and when will we find out? Right now, John Seidler is waiting to be voted in by Major League Baseball. That should come, fairly soon, I would imagine, before spring training. But Eric Katsenda technically is still the team chairman, then John Seidler would take over. And in this lawsuit, Shiel Seidler apparently would like him to be, removed. I don't know. I mean, between Matt and Robert and John, I don't know where this is going to go. Where I think it's going to go is I do think, and I've thought this since Peter passed away, I think this ball club will be sold. I really do. I mean, Peter Seidler wanted to win so bad for you fans that he over leveraged himself. And I think Major League Baseball wasn't all that excited about that. You got to go back, and I know he won't talk, but you got to wonder why the partnership of Peter Seidler and Ron Fowler blew up. Ron Fowler loved being down there. Him and his wife, they had their own little seats they made for him down there. They loved being down there. All of a sudden, 2020, he's out. He walks out the door, gets out. What happened? Maybe he didn't want to, continue to throw money at the Padres. There were cash calls. Other owners, minority owners, there was a cash call. And we know, and it's not that uncommon, the Padres had to take, a $50 million loan last year to make payroll. That was reported. I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm going to tell you right now. And in Kevin Ainsley's article today online in the Union Tribune, he said he talked to nearly 20 people. None of those people went on record of who they are, all anonymous. Some apparently used to work for the ball club, some on the business side, some on the baseball operations side. There's been fear of retribution if anybody talked that are with the organization right now. Padres deny that. This is getting ugly. This is getting ugly, and it's going to continue to get ugly until they get a decision. When that decision is going to come down, I don't know. Will it be before February 12th? Will it be before Manny Machado and company roll in for their first workout on February 17th? Because here's what's going to happen. And by the way, Shiel Seidler did play a part in recruiting Manny Machado back in 2000 and what was it, 2019? He came, I guess it was. And she's become good friends with Manny's wife, Yanni. And I think you're going to have a division here, folks. I hate to say it, and it's going to put the manager in a tough situation. I think there's going to be people on the business side that are probably going to side with the Seidler brothers because they've got a job and they want to keep their job. And if Shiel Seidler gets control, she knows the people that probably haven't been helping her cause, and they'd probably be out of a job. And then on the baseball side, because she has spent time around the players and different community activities, I think she's got some credibility with the players. Now, as far as the manager's concerned, he's in a tough spot. He's in a tough spot. And, what's going to happen when the season starts? And if they haven't decided this, is Shiel Seidler going to be on the field like she was last year with her kids, or is she going to even be allowed in the ballpark? I don't know. Will she be in the owner's box? What's going to happen? How uncomfortable is that going to be for everybody involved? And even if you're not involved, how uncomfortable is that going to be? I'm not taking sides here because I don't know what was in Peter's will or his trust. I just know this, that I think at the end of the day, this ball club will be sold. I really do. And I say that even before this lawsuit, I thought it would be sold. And the other thing, Peter was a financial guy. And he knew, if they were going to get in trouble with money, there's always a bailout because the ball club right now is worth over $2 billion. I mean, everybody could walk away. Everybody could cash in and they could walk away and never look back. But right now, everybody's fighting for what they have and what they want to keep. And it's very unfortunate because I think it's really kind of staining everything that Peter Seidler worked for. I really do. And I'm sorry because he was a friend of mine. I considered him a friend. We texted all the time. I really appreciated his friendship. I think he appreciated mine. I know he was a big listener to my radio show because he walked the streets at night to help the homeless. And he would listen to my show, and he walked the neighborhood, and he was always listening. He always knew what was going on. And Sheila Seidler, I know, I like her. I think she's a very, very nice lady. She's got a big task at hand because she's got 3 young children. And the Seidler brothers, I know Tom, and he's not involved in any of this. Tom's a great guy. I've said that many a time on our podcast and on radio. He does a lot of great stuff in our community, out talking, going to charity events, doing stuff with the military. Great guy. I don't know where he stands. I haven't heard his name mentioned one time in all of this because he just goes out and does his job. I just want what's best for the organization. And really, at the end of the day, I want what's best for you Padre fans out there because we've been through a lot. We've been through a lot with all the different ownerships we've had. C. Arnhold Smith. Then Ray Kroc saved the franchise. He had Tom Warner come in with his band of merry men. They didn't have the money. We had fire sales here. Then John Moores did a great job until him and Becky decided to go their separate ways, and things got real dicey there for a while. Jeff Morad came in, never really fully owned the ball club, walked away when Ron Fowler and Peter Seidler bought it. We've been through a lot. And if you're a longtime Padres fan like me, who was at the very first game on April 8th, 1969, it's tough to watch. I mean, we're right there. And, going back to bitter and angry and frustrated, I'm still bitter, angry, and frustrated about losing to the Dodgers last year. We were up 2-1. We got too cocky. We got flat out too cocky. Just go out there and play the game. And the Dodgers ended up stuffing it up our tailpipe. And they went on and won the world title. They cruised to the world title. Blew out the Mets and, took care of business in the World Series. I mean, that thing was over before it got started. And, we'll see where it goes this year. But, we've got a good core. We've got a really good core. But that core is getting older, and every year that goes by, they're getting a year older. And this may be our last chance for a while, folks. And I say that because right now, I'm going to say we keep all these guys, even though one of them or both of them, Arraez and Cease could be gone. But as of today, I think we can be a playoff team. I wouldn't say that unless I believed it. I think there could be 3 teams coming out of the National League West this year to be in the playoffs. Because I think right now we're probably the 3rd best team. I think Arizona's better than us right now on paper. But again, you don't play the games on paper. But I really think that we can be a playoff team. And if we get in the playoffs, we can be tough. Hopefully Darvish can stay healthy. Hopefully Cease and King can, repeat what they did a year ago. Right now, I would think somebody asked me over the weekend, who do you think the Padre rotation will be? Well, those 3 that I mentioned, and I think right now you got to probably throw in Matt Waldron, who ran out of gas last year, and he'll be better this year, and Randy Vasquez. And then you make Adrian Morejon, if you get him in shape to where he can go multiple innings, that would be great. Johnny Brito's got a good arm. Continue to work with him. You can mix and match. There's no reason why you can't do that. And I think our bullpen will be fine. There's been talk that they may trade Robert Suarez. Why? Why would you trade him? You lost Tanner Scott. Why would you trade Robert Suarez? Why? Because he's making $10 million? So, we'll see where it goes. Now, over the weekend, came down on Friday, actually. Padres, they acquired an interesting guy, Ron Miranacio. I think that's how you pronounce his name. They got him from the White Sox for cash considerations. We didn't give up anybody. He was DFA'd, and they had to trade him. They traded him to the Padres. Now, this guy's 29 years of age. He never pitched for the White Sox. He pitched for the Yankees parts of 3 seasons. Spent time in AAA last year, but also spent time in the big leagues. And last year, 16 games with the Yankees, 1-0 with a 3.86 ERA. 23 and a third innings, gave up 18 hits, 25 punch-outs, a whip of 1.20. And career with the Yankees, he pitched 101 games, 6-5 record, a 3.22 ERA. Check this out, 114 and 2/3 innings, 75 hits allowed, with 137 punch-outs and a 1.9 whip. Walks have been a little bit of a problem for him, but this guy's got a good arm. So, again, A.J. Preller picks this guy up for nothing. And he'll add to the mix. And by the way, he also has an option left. So if they want to bounce him up and down, they can. This is a nice under-the-radar pick. The guy should be able to help the ball club. You know, if you get a guy here that can help the ball club, a guy there that can help the ball club, that's good stuff, folks. That's good stuff. Okay, let's get to the left fielders and the catchers. I mentioned it earlier in the show. Left field is going to be a problem. You're not going to get a guy out there to hit 280 probably with 24 bombs and 85 RBIs like you did last year with Jerks and Profar. But you certainly can mix and match out there. I think it ends up being a platoon position. Now, here's my take on this. David Peralta is not signed. Now, David Peralta is going to be 38 years of age. But he did a great job, and he's a grinder, and he's a great influence. And I think the players love him. You could sign Peralta. You're not going to have to break the bank. Or you decide to go with Terso or Nellis, who had a good year in AAA, hit 24 bombs, I think it was last year, 23, something like that. Or Eggy Rosario. Eggy Rosario playing winter ball, doing a really good job right now. But I don't think, unless you sign David Pro, I'm not sure there's another guy out. Randall Grichuk, I would be okay with that. Randall Grichuk's a pretty good player. You know, he was a first-round pick. Kind of an interesting thought on this. He was a first-round pick the same year with the Angels as Mike Trout. Angels had 2 first-round picks. And the guy they took was Randall Grichuk, and right behind him, because they had 2 picks in a row, they took Mike Trout. That's a great trivia question. Randall Grichuk was drafted by the Angels in the same draft by Mike Trout, 1 spot ahead of Mike Trout. But he's not a bad ball player. Knows how to play, another veteran guy. Or you can roll the dice and go with the young guys. Or Nellis and Eggy Rosario. I think Eggy Rosario is not a bad hitter. And I don't think he's a bad third baseman, but you'd have to play left field here. So that's kind of where I'm at there. I don't know if there's anybody else out there that they're looking at right now. And again, Padres haven't spent any money in free agency. Other than re-signing Tyler Wade, they haven't spent any money in free agency. They gave him, what, $900,000? That's it. That's all they've spent. And again, it kind of comes back, as the general manager, are they going to help him out a little bit? Are they going to give him a little bit of flexibility where he can go out and sign somebody? We really do need another arm, but we need a left fielder. And then the catching situation, I don't know what to tell you on this. I mean, seriously. This Luis Camposano, how many more years are we going to go with Luis Camposano? He fell in such disarray last year that he ended up in AAA and wasn't even on the playoff roster. But right now, he's slated to be our starting catcher. Or you can go with the 38-year-old catcher, Martin Maldonado, who got DFA'd by one of the worst baseball teams in the history of the game, the Chicago White Sox, and he hit 114 last year and got DFA'd, after the middle of the season. Or you could go with Brent Sullivan, which is a 4A player, good guy, hardworking guy, a nice guy to have in AAA if somebody goes down with an injury and come up for a week or two. But I don't see him making the roster. Or you go out and sign Elias Diaz, who's still looking for a job. To me, that would probably be the best guy to sign. And he's not going to break the bank. He's not going to get $10 million at this point in time. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you on this. Now, we're going to take your comments. I want to hear your comments. I started the program talking about Padre fans angry, bitter, and frustrated. I think a lot of you are. Fess up, you are. So if you've got comments, start rolling them in, and we'll talk about them. Everybody sees this from a different angle. Okay, Sam, good morning, Coach. I think I speak for all Padre fans when I say this has been one terrible offseason. What's one move you think they can do to try and save it a little bit? Well, I'd like to see some veterans signed. I don't know if Peralta, I don't know if he can find the fountain of youth again this year. Grichuk is younger. I think he's a pretty good player. I wouldn't mind seeing him. I think you got to find out if there's somebody out there. If you have to make a trade, I hate to say this, but if you trade the guys that you could get a lot for, I think you may be going backwards. AJ is going to have to, Sam, weigh, is a trade going to make us better or make us worse? You know, it's like we're in a boat and we got holes springing up. You fix that hole, another hole springs up, and you got to plug the hole. I just don't know what he's able to do without trading Cease or Arraez. And there was a story over the weekend. Well, there have been a couple of stories. One about, and this has been an ongoing one with Luis Arraez, that the Yankees are really interested in him. And remember, he's got 1 year to go. Dylan Cease has 1 year to go. And there was a story about Cease maybe going to the Yankees. There was another story that Arraez could go to the Yankees. I don't think you get a whole lot for Luis Arraez because he's not that power guy. He's not the guy that's going to drive in a lot of runs. He's not a guy that's going to steal a lot of bases. He's strictly a DH, and I don't know where he plays in New York. I mean, I really don't know where he plays in New York because they got Stanton as the designated hitter, and they signed Paul Goldschmidt to play first base. I don't think he's going to play second base. Maybe. That one I don't buy. And I just don't think you'd get enough. Now, if you traded Dylan Cease there, now it'd probably be a 3-for-1, even though he's only got 1 year to go on his contract. But I don't know. We're going to find out. I mean, every day the clock is ticking, Sam, and we're going to see where it goes. But that's where it goes. I'd like to see Arraez stay. I like Arraez. I think he's a gamer. I think he plays hard. I'd like to see him play an entire season without that thumb bark, and he had offseason thumb surgery. And I think he's never going to hit with great power, but he'll have more power this coming year than he did a year ago once that fully heals. And he should be ready to go in spring training, I think. He should be pretty much full go. Boy, those thumb injuries, they can really hang with you. But it was so bad he had to have surgery. Okay, that's the Padres. I want your questions, though. Give me your questions. Whatever you got on the Padres. Okay, RH, Kevin in Chula Vista. Here's one of the all-time greats. John, the Padres can't field a complete team today. If the season started as well, they're at least 7 teams better than San Diego lineup today. Not a World Series team. Maybe not a World Series team, Kevin, but I do think if we throw somebody out there in left field and we mix and match behind the plate. I think the Padres are good enough to get in the playoffs. After that, it comes down if your starting pitching can get the job done and you do the little things. But I think our window of opportunity, it hasn't totally closed, but it's closed a little bit quicker than I think all of us thought it would. But that's where I'm at on that. I do think we can be a playoff team. Tyler, Coach, could you name a player from the bullpen that could compete for a starting rotation role? Yeah, I think a couple. I think Brian Hoeing, I think they're looking at him. There's also Stephen Kolker, I think it is. He's in line. And I think you have to find out a little bit more about Adrian Morejon. I think they've kind of held him back because he's had a lot of injuries. But I think we need to find out. I mean, can Adrian Morejon, he wasn't signed as a 16-year-old kid to be a bullpen guy. And I think you got to find out more about him. Can he be a guy that goes 5 or 6 innings? I don't know if he's ever been in that kind of condition. But I think Brian Hoeing's probably one of those guys that they probably talked to at the end of last year or early in the offseason and said, hey, look, we're going to give you an opportunity to come in and compete for a starting job. You got to get yourself in condition to be a starting pitcher. That's what I would think. Okay, ADM, we're definitely trying to unload. Rumors are they're looking at trading King now, too. Rumors are King, Cease, Arraez, Jake. Seems like everyone. Well, if they do that, I got news for you. 2026, a lot of season ticket holders will no longer be season ticket holders that were season ticket holders in 2025. I can tell you that. Jake Cronenworth would be an easy guy to trade because really at the end of the day, he can play multiple positions. whether he plays first or second. He could DH on a ball club if he had to. He could fill in at shortstop. He could probably play third. And when you match him up with the money that King, Cease, and Arraez would garner in free agency, he's a cheap ball player. Yeah, very cheap ball player. I could see them trading King if they get beat in arbitration. I could see them trading Mike King, very much so. All right, Peter Peer blocked. That's a good one. Does Coach feel the local beat writers, radio stations are hamstrung to criticize ownership because they fear losing jobs or credentials to access team? I don't know. You'd have to ask those guys. I never felt that way. I always tried to tell it the way it was, and there were a lot of rumors out there that the reason I got let go at the radio station was because I criticized the Padres. That's not the case. That's not the case. Uh, they asked me a year before they let me go if I was thinking about retiring. I go, no, why would I want to retire? And actually, the quote I had was absolutely not. And then after the 2023 season, they called me and said they were making a change. And I said to them, I go, why would you make a change when I've got historic ratings in midday radio over the last 35 years? And I'm number one in the market. And we want to make a change. Well, it had to do with friendships and I think some people that just I don't know. I don't really know why, but it didn't have anything to do with my on-air ability. It had nothing to do with my relationship with the Padres because I even asked that. I've always had a great relationship with the Padres. Padres always, first of all, the Padres never told me what to say or how to say it. And I can honestly say that now. What's going on now? I don't know. I hear rumors out there. The Padres have, told some talk show hosts, you better get on board with us. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I've heard. I know Scott Kaplan had something on his podcast last week. I don't really stay in the know with what's going on. I do my own work. But the reason I got let go wasn't because of the San Diego Padres. If it was, I'd be really, really disappointed in the Padres. And I don't believe that's the case. Because I've been as loyal to the Padres, but I'm also honest. And I've always told people all the years I did the pre and post game show, hey, if you don't like what I'm saying, play better baseball. And but anyways, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't have a media credential. I'm going to apply for one this year. We'll see if they give one to me. I don't know if they will. I would hope they would because I've been loyal media member. I think I do a great job of being a conduit between the ball club and the community. But I will apply for a media credential. I didn't do that last year. I took the year off. I wanted to get the podcast started. I wanted to get this up and running. And hopefully the Padres will grant me a media credential. And again, if they don't, they don't. I'm not going to sit here and cry over spilled milk, but I would be very, very disappointed because I think I've been a loyal media member and I was very loyal to that organization all the years that I covered them. So there you have that. Okay. Yesterday, NFC Championship game. It went pretty much the way I thought. I didn't think it would get out of hand the way it got out of hand, and it got flat out of hand there in the fourth quarter. Philadelphia put 3 touchdowns on the board and walked away with that 55-23 victory. Eagles just too much for the Commanders. Good year, though. Good year for the Commanders. Dan Quinn did a good job with that ball club. They ended up overall having a really, really nice year. And who would have ever thought the Commanders would have got to the NFC Championship game? But just too much Jalen Hurts, too much Saquon Barkley. Barkley busted off another 60-yard run yesterday. Didn't really get worked all that hard. 15 carries, 118 yards, a touchdown, or 3 touchdowns, I should say. And my man Jalen Hurts, my second favorite player in the NFL. Jalen Hurts. Derrick Henry's my number 1 guy. But Jalen Hurts, he had a big day on a gimpy knee. He went 20 of 28, 246, a touchdown, had 10 carries, 16 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And A.J. Brown had a big game. Dallas Goedert had a big game. And, I thought Jaden Daniels, I mean, he was under a lot of heat yesterday. I thought he played pretty well. 29 of 48, 255, a touchdown interception, 6 carries, 48 yards, and a touchdown. And you know who I felt good for, even though they got beat? A guy that I've always liked, and I don't know if it's going to be his last game, but Zach Ertz, who won a Super Bowl title with the Eagles, 34 years of age, had a decent year. But yesterday, against his old team, 11 catches, 104 yards, which may end up being his last game. Him and his wife, Julie Ertz, who's a great star on the U.S. Women's national team. They've got 3 children. They just had, I think, twins born last August. So, you know, he may ride off into the sunset, but man, he looked great yesterday. And by the way, kind of an interesting note, when I was getting ready for the program, Philadelphia, the 55 points they scored yesterday were the most by any team that has scored in a conference championship game since the merger in 1970. How about that? And then, of course, the AFC championship game. Okay, if you're watching right now, this is live. I want you to tell me right now, write in and let me know what you thought on that 4th down. I thought that Josh Allen did not get it. He got turned, and I know the one official came in and it looked like it was a first down, and he moved it back. The other guy came in, it was short. Then they reviewed it over and over and over, and they said it was short, and they gave the ball to the Chiefs. They went down, kicked the field goal. They ended up winning the game. I thought he was short. What did you think? And I don't care if you're a Chiefs fan, Buffalo Bills fan, or just a football fan. What did you think on that play? Was he short, or should it have been a first down Buffalo there by midfield? I thought he was short. And I thought the referees, they got it right. But I know a lot of people thought it should have been a first down. That's a tough play to stop. Very tough play to stop. Okay, now we got the Super Bowl. Who do you like? I got to go with Kansas City. As much as I like Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, and I know my buddy Bill Wendell was all lathered up yesterday because he works on the radio broadcast, spotting for Merrill Reese, a longtime play-by-play voice of the Eagles. I think I got to go with the Chiefs. That'll be in 2 weeks. Andros, I hate the Chiefs, but I thought it was too close to tell. It had to stay the way it was called. I'll buy that. I'll buy that from you. First down Buffalo from Mr. Keith 48. Got a first down Buffalo. See who the referee was yesterday? Ed Hockley's son, Sean Hockley. Pretty good official. In fact, I think he's a real good official. Super Bowl matchup, Chiefs and Eagles. Man, Mahomes is tough. You know, Travis Kelce, they guarded him, or they didn't even throw the ball to him yesterday. What do you have? 2 catches, 19 yards? But I guarantee you he'll play a big part in the Super Bowl game. That's going to be good. I love the Super Bowl. You know, people always ask me, what do you do on Super Bowl? Well, for many years, I would do like a Super Bowl pregame show on radio, and then I'd rush home, or maybe have to go to an appearance and then rush back and do a postgame show when I was on 690 and 1090. And I got to be honest with you, I don't like going to Super Bowl parties. I get invited, my wife and I, we get invited to Super Bowl parties all the time. I don't like going. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I like to watch the game. I like to watch the commercials. I like to watch the game. I like to watch halftime. And I like to watch the postgame. I like to watch it all. And when I go to a party, everybody, because of what I do, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this or that? I want to watch the game. And so I don't go to Super Bowl parties. We have hot dogs, and we have our potato chips, Ruffles, and a Coke, and, eat really crappy that day. But I don't do that very often. But I want to watch the game, because when I go to Super Bowl parties, when I have in the past, or, doing an appearance, appearances are fun because I'm talking with fans that are really into it. But when I'm just at a party, and because of the Super Bowl, you have a lot of non-traditional football fans come to these Super Bowl parties. And I got great friends, and I appreciate their invite. But when the game gets over, you're driving home, you're talking to the wife, and you only remember like 3 or 4 plays the entire game because people have been talking to you. So I stay home. I stay home with my wife and my dog, and we watch the Super Bowl. I don't know how you watch the Super Bowl. That's the way I like to watch it. Okay, local college basketball. Tell you what, two of the three teams are having hell of a year. And I know San Diego State isn't having the year everybody expected, but they're still in it, man. They're still in it. They're 13-5, 6-3. Tomorrow night, they got San Jose State. San Jose State 10-11, 3-6. Aztecs later in the week, Saturday, 5 o'clock game at Viejas, Wyoming coming in. Winnable game. Two winnable games. They had to get to 15-5 and 8-3 with the two wins this week. But again, you got to go out and play. But right now, 13-5, 6-3. Nice win. Really good win. Well, up in Nevada against Steve Alford's Wolfpack. 69-50. Shot 48.2%. Held the Wolfpack. How about this? 29.4% from the field for the Wolfpack. They were 5 of 26 on three-pointers, the Wolfpack. They got the foul line 15-22. Aztecs only shot 8 free throws. That's what happens when you're on the road. They were 6 of 8, but they shot 48.2%. They were 9 of 25. Magoon Guath, 15 points, 13 rebounds, 7 of 7 from the field. But the 13 rebounds, he had 15 points, 13 rebounds in 29 minutes. And today, it came down early this morning, named the Mountain West Conference Freshman of the Week. So congratulations to Magoon Guath. Boy, he's a talented guy. Miles Bird had a very interesting game. 11 points, 4 rebounds, but 9 assists and 3 steals. And that freshman, Taj DeGorville, boy, they're getting a lot of good play out of him. 4 5 on 3-pointers the other night for 14 points. Here's the way the standings of the Mountain West Conference look right now. New Mexico 91 or 9-1. They squeaked out a 1-point victory on Saturday against UNLV. So New Mexico at 9-1, Utah State 8-1. Then you got Colorado State at 7-2, San Diego State at 6-3, and then Boise State, UNLV 5-4. You know what? Long ways to go in the Mountain West Conference. Okay, let's take a look at UC San Diego. This is a fun team, folks. I'm probably a little partial because I call their games, but they got a great coach, Eric Olin. They got a great staff, and they got a lot of great players. This team is 17-4 right now. They're 7-2 in the Big West. They got one game this week. They got to travel over and take on Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Hawaii, a decent team. This will be a tough game. And then they're off the rest of the week. But Saturday night, they blew out CSUN, who'd been playing really well. They were 13-6, are now 13-7 after UC San Diego beat them 79-54. Tritons led 41-22 at halftime. Senior forward Aniwa Tate Jones, 32 points, 10 of 14 shooting, 12 of 13 at the foul line. He has shot, I think, I want to say now 100 and I want to say 189 free throws on the year. He leads the nation taking the most free throws. I mean, it's amazing this guy gets to the free throw line. His running mate, Tyler McGuy, 19 points, 5 of 11 on 3-pointers. Right now, he's third in the country in 3-point shooting. So the Tritons continue to roll 17-4, 7-2, a game back of Irvine in the Big West. And USD, wow. I don't know what to tell you on the Toreros. They're 4-18, 1-8 in conference play. Saturday night, they got beat by USF 81-69 on the road up at War Memorial Gymnasium. This week, they're home for 2 games. Thursday night, they got Pepperdine, a winnable game at 7 o'clock. Saturday afternoon, Jenny Craig Pavilion, 3 o'clock against Loyola Marymount. Should be a winnable game at home. But, man, they're 4-18, 1-8 in conference. Not good. Not good at all. Okay, folks, I'm going to urge you right now to, if you've got a subscription to the Union Tribune, go online and read this article that came down early this morning by Kevin Acey regarding Shield Seidler and the lawsuit with the Padres. And I go back to it as we get ready to close out. If we got some more questions, we'll take them right now. But I don't know where we're headed. We got so many things to think about when it comes to the Padres. And now all this off-field stuff is starting to, I think, affect what's going on the ball field. Andrew, what kind of a dog do you have, Coach? I've got a lab, Ridgeback, a white lab or yellow lab with Ridgeback in her. And she's an awesome dog. Her name's Carney, Carney, 12 years of age. and just an awesome dog. We got her from a rescue up behind a Mexican restaurant in Oceanside. We went up there on a Saturday. We'd had our other dog for 15 years. Nike was a black lab with a white chest, and we called him Nike. And unfortunately, we had to have Nike put down. My wife had Nike put down one night when I was at a Padre game getting ready to do the post game show, and I came home and found out my dog had I lost my dog, and we went about 2.5 years without a dog, and we got Carney, and Carney's been absolutely unbelievable. Just a great friend, and watches ball games with me each and every night, and just an awesome dog. All right, Petey. Is Reese Waters going to make an appearance or just redshirt? Well, if he's got the ability to redshirt, I think you redshirt him at this point in time. With game condition, where you're at right now, I don't think it'd be good. I mean, he can come in next year and, replace whoever's not going to be coming back. And Nick Boyd, who they got this year, he's been a little up and down. He's had some really good games. There have been other games where he's disappeared. And from what I understand, he could come back next year. I think the Aztecs, if they can keep all their guys, next year, they're going to be unbelievable. I mean, I think next year, if all the guys that are there now can stay, and I know Wayne McKinney will move on. He's a senior, and boy, he had 2 points the other night, but he's had a pretty good year coming off the bench. I don't know if it's the year he was expecting or the playing time he was expecting when he transferred from USD. But Wayne McKinney, when he's played more times than not, done a really good job. But with the guys they've got and all the freshmen, if they can keep everybody in the day of the NIL, you just don't know. They could be just dynamite next year. They could, with that 7-footer Magoon Guath, oh my God. And, they got some dudes that can flat out play. And I'm looking forward to next year. I think they're going to be really good. But I think Reese Waters at this point in time, if he has the ability to get a medical red shirt, that's what they should do. All right, that's going to close it out. We'll have another show for you on Friday morning at 10 a.m. Again, I would thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit like. If you got comments on the Padre ownership, what direction you think the Padres should go as far as players, who should they go after if there's somebody still available out there in free agency? Because I don't want you Padre fans to be angry, bitter, and frustrated like me. I want to have a good 2025 season. Like I said, if they keep everything intact, add a couple of pieces without subtracting any, Padres, there's no reason they can't get back to the playoffs. And once you get to the playoffs, anything can happen. So again, please subscribe, like, follow me on Facebook at John Quintera, and follow me on X at Coach Quintera44. Have a great week, everyone. Thanks for all the great questions. And we'll talk to you again on Friday. Bye-bye.